Hi there. Today I wanted to talk to you about using Google Scholar properly as a powerful tool in your research arsenal. This is part two of a two-part video series, and this video, called Harness the Power, is about searching Google Scholar and turning around and sifting through and finally using the results that you find. So scholar.google.com, also known as Google Scholar, is a search engine index of scholarly literature that brings back both full text and metadata. Full text simply means that you can actually read the full text of the article, and metadata basically is another way of saying a record of an article that exists. You might not be able to read it, but you can see that that article was written. So Google Scholar is a more narrow search scope than regular Google. What that means is that it eliminates popular sources like websites, news articles, media files, etc. In turn, what you get on Google Scholar is mainly academic journal articles, reports, white papers, and case files. Now, part one of this video series was about connecting your school's library subscriptions into your Google Scholar search results. If you haven't done that yet, you should go back and watch part one. If you have done that and you've connected your Red Rocks Community College library subscription into Google Scholar, stay here. We're going to talk about searching. So when you search on Google Scholar, my suggestion is to start broad with your subject terms and then narrow down. Narrowing down simply means adding more subject terms and coming back with more narrow results, more focused results of what you would like to see. You will not use Boolean operators when you use Google Scholar. Boolean operators and or are not are what you use in a library database. However, when you're using Google Scholar, do not use Boolean operators. It doesn't need them, nor really recognize them. You can also search by specific years. Say you want an article from a very specific year, you can search by narrowing down by years. You can also do a year range. So say you want an article from a time period, but maybe over the course of several years. Finally, you can sort your results by relevance, which means the results come back which are most related to your search terms, or you can sort by date, which means you can have the most recent article on the top of your search results. So let's go check out Google Scholar real quick to show you what I mean. So when you're doing a search in Google Scholar, like I said, you can start broad. So for my search, I'm going to do 2008 financial crisis. As you can see, that brings back over 2 million search results. That's very broad. Now you might be able to find what you're looking for based upon your project or your purpose from these 2 million results, but more than likely you're probably going to narrow down. So I'm going to add in inequality and then United States. So I'm telling Google that, yeah, I'm looking for articles about the 2008 financial crisis, but I want them to be about how this perhaps brought greater inequality, and I want them to be focused in the United States. So right there, you can see what I mean by saying narrowing down. All right, so right now we have 497,000, still way too many, but we can begin narrowing down from here even more. One way that we can do that, as I mentioned previously, would be to use the date. If I only wanted articles from 2020, I would click since 2020. I can also put in a custom range. So for example, if I want articles from 2009 to 2020, I would just put that range into the custom range area, then hit search. There we go. So that drops it down to about 68,000. Still a lot, but there's things that we can do to work with this. Now, like I mentioned, if I wanted to sort by date with the most recent article first, I would click sort by date right here. You can see this article is from 2020 and it's from 6 days ago. So kind of cool to do it that way, but most likely you're going to want to sort by relevance. So click sort by relevance. Cool. So now we have a search, now we have our subject terms, and we have our results. So sifting through these results can be a little bit tricky, but there's a couple cool features of Google Scholar that you can use to be able to do this more efficiently. The first thing that you can do is create an account and save articles. I'll also show you how you can cite articles. You can see articles that cited this article, and you can also see the rates of use for a specific article. So you can see how many times a specific article was cited. You can also see related articles, and you can see multiple versions of the same article. So going back to our results, I'll show you what I mean. Now say we wanted to save this first article. What you would do is click this blue star. And what that means is you have now saved this article to your account. If you want to create a Google Scholar account, go over here to the right side and then hit My Profile and then sign in with your account information. Hitting the blue star saves this article to our account. The next helpful thing that I might suggest doing would be to read the abstract. One way that you can read the abstract is to click the title. This will bring you to the journal article homepage, which you may or may not be able to read the full article from, but at the very least, it'll show you the abstract. So here's the abstract, and an abstract is a quick way to understand what the article is about. Now, reading the abstract is no substitution for reading the full article, but like I said, when you're trying to wade and sift through all these articles, reading the abstract is helpful. Now, we'll go back to Google Scholar. So we've read the abstract, we've saved the article. Now, one thing that we can do is to cite the article. To do that, click these little quotation marks next to the blue star underneath the article citation area. From here, you can copy and paste whatever citation format you're using. So if you're using APA, copy and paste the APA. Using Chicago, there you go. You can also import this citation into BibTeX, EndNote, RefMan, and RefWorks down here at the bottom. If you use those programs, this is a quick way to import the citation to yourself. Now, as I mentioned, you can also see how many times this article was cited by other articles. Now, that might be useful if you're looking for relevance, perhaps. Like this article was cited by 160 other articles, meaning that it might have some important things to say. This is not always the case, but this is one quick way that you can see how many people have cited the article. By clicking on Cited by 160, you'll see all the other articles that cited this article. Now, if you're doing an extensive literature review, that's really useful because you're probably going to see related articles that you might be able to use. Another way to see related articles would be to click this Related Articles option. What that does is that it searches by subject term and brings back articles that utilize the same subject. So again, if you're looking for a bunch of articles at one time, this is a great way to do it. Now, finally, you can see all 14 versions of this article. Click on all 14 versions. Now, this article could be posted in multiple places. Like for example, it's posted here at academia.edu, and it's also posted here at researchgate.net. Now, this is a great way to see if you have access to the article itself. Going back to the main page, I want to show you something really useful, and this is why I told you to connect your Red Rocks library subscription to Google Scholar. On the far right-hand column on Google Scholar, these links will actually be links to the full articles. So you can see this third article right here doesn't have a link. That means that for whatever reason, I do not have subscription access to that article. But this one, however, does, and I also have access to it through my Red Rocks library subscription account. So I can click that, and it will take me to this sign-in page where I put in my S number and then I put in my password, the same password that you use for D2L, and it will actually take you to the article. So that's useful to know. I can also find this article on, let's see, other sites that may be hosting the PDF. So like for example, I can find this article on researchgate.net. Regardless of which way you try to access this article, these are your options on the far right-hand page. One other very cool thing that you might want to know about is how you can create an alert. Now, if you are following an issue really closely, creating a Google Scholar alert is a really useful way of staying on top of the research that continuously comes out every day and every month. In order to do that, if you wanted to create an alert for this specific search that we're using, come down to the far left-hand side to the little envelope and hit Create Alert. Now, this shows you which subject search terms you'll be alerted about, and it'll send you enter your email here, and as new articles using these subject search terms are published, Google Scholar will actually send you an alert. Very cool. All right, that was a quick run through about how to use Google Scholar. If you still have any more questions about how to do this, you can book a librarian who will sit down with you and explain with you how to use Google Scholar. You can do that on the Red Rocks Community College Library website. Thank you very much, and happy searching Google Scholar to you.